Hey, welcome back to the shop. It has been a very long weekend of sanding, painting, and doing everything I can to try and get all these plastics done. It was a lot of work, a lot more than I anticipated, but we finally got them all ready. So let's take a look at what we have so far. So we got the the hand guards, a couple fenders, side cover, and the headlight bucket, and they look pretty good. Still see some of the little scratches and some of the little dings and such, but for now it'll be just fine. This was painted with a Krylon silver metallic and did fairly well. Still have to do a little bit of buffing out and then a top coat, but overall I'm very pleased. It'll work just fine for me. Still a little bit of a issue right here. We'll try and figure out what we can do with that. Maybe try and buff that out, sand it down, maybe shoot another coat on top. But as it dried, it seemed to be cracking a little bit right there. That's where one of the original cracks was from the underside. So we'll get that taken care of. But other than that, plastics are done. I'm very happy. One more off of the list of things to do. So let's see what it took to get to where we are here. Okay, here's the three pieces of plastic we're going to start with. The first one here is the actual rear fender, and as you can see, someone has painted it white. We're going to strip that off and get it back down to the bare plastic, and then we'll probably sand it up, polish it up, and then coat it with some lacquer. This is the front fender, and you can see it is really oxidized here. Basically, the sun, the UV rays get on this, breaks down the plastic, and it creates a small oxidation layer, and it's basically just dead plastic. And so we're going to scrape that off. We're going to sand it down with progressively finer grits and get it back to a normal shine. I'm just going to do a portion, just the front edge here, and just show you the process, and then we'll speed it up and get the entire thing done. And lastly, we are going to go in there, we're going to fix this crack. We're going to put some glass on here, some fiberglass, get it all basically secured up. And then we'll probably put another gel coat on the top just to make sure that it's nice and sturdy, so we can put it back on. Then we'll polish it up and put another coat of paint on it. So let's start off with this. So I'm going to coat this with some citrus paint stripper. It's a little stripping gel. I find this was really good. You just brush it on, set, forget, and it comes off in 24 hours. So we're going to glop some of this on. We are going to put on a piece of plastic to hold it on there so it doesn't dry out, and then let it set overnight. So let's get to it. Okay, next we're going to go in there. I'm just going to tape off this little area that we're going to be working on, just as a demonstration. That way you can see the before and after. You can see I've already done a little bit of work on it. Just wanted to see how far down the oxidation actually went all the way through. It wasn't that bad. You can see that it'll come out nice. It's probably about a ½ mil. One thing you want to make sure you do, this is just a soapy water solution. You want to do this when you're scraping and you're sanding, to do it wet so you minimize the stuff that's floating around in the air. So we're going to do it this way. What we're going to do is we're going to take a flat, doesn't have to be that sharp, but just a flat razor blade, and we're going to gently scrape. Just get this where you can see it. And you'll see that oxidation layer starting to come off like that. See that? That's what you want to get to. I mean, already that looks a lot better. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go through progressively finer different bit or grits of sandpaper. We've got 320, 400, 800, 1000, and 1500, and then we'll put it on the polishing wheel and get it shined up. So let's start with the 320, and again, do this wet. A really quick update. I was in here polishing, admiring my work, and oh man, that looks great. I've come to realize this whole dadgum fender has been painted. So I need to go in there and put stripper on it and get it stripped. So I guess instead of going back to this color, it will actually be this color, which is the standard silver. So anyway, that saves me a lot of hassle, a lot of polishing and everything else. Just got to clean it up and get it ready for paint. So here we go. Alright, let's take a look at this. See how it turned out. This is the rear fender that was painted white, if you remember. See how that citrus stripper did. Ooh, looky there. Ha! That stuff's amazing. Look at all that. See, now you just wad it up and toss it. All right, let's unwrap this and see how the front fender fared. Must not have been that heavy. Yeah, you can see it's starting to come off there. Have to do a little bit more scrubbing on him. Let's flip it over. Take off this. Oh yeah, a lot of it came off in the plastic. All right. Okay, now let's see what we can do with our good old brush here, and maybe some simple green. That'll kind of cut that crud a little bit. And it smells nice. Okay, it looks like I've got some sanding to do here. It doesn't seem to want to come out. But I'm going to sand it all anyway, get it nice and smooth, and then I'll put on some fresh paint. So, all right. Okay, so we've gone in and sanded this down with 400 all the way. Some very fine scratches in there, and that's okay, because as soon as you put on the base coat of your primer, sand it down, and put on a finish coat, it'll be nice and smooth. So not too worried about it. I just want to show you the before and after. That's before and that's after, so a little bit of a difference. And I'm going to tackle this one now, and I'll bring it back when it's all done, and we'll have some parts that are ready to paint here, and then we'll tackle the side case and put a gel coat on. So hang on. Alright, let's get to this little side cover here. You can see it's got a pretty nasty little crack right there. I put some super glue epoxy on there just to hold it together while I try and glass this in. And cleaned it up all with acetone, so it's ready and primed and ready to accept this. It's my first time to do fiberglass, but I've watched a lot of stuff on YouTube, yay. So I got a little tip about if you put some tape around here, you can go in there and cut little holes and such, and get everything kind of lined up. And then when you're ready to put on your epoxy, you just take the tape gently off and it releases. So I've done that. And we are going to try it out and see if it works. I am using 2 ounces of epoxy resin, so that means I'm supposed to add 20 drops of the hardener. And we're going to see how this goes. So let's see if this works. Alright, so we have let this go for 24 hours. It is cured up, and I'll tell you what, I'm very, very happy with that. It is significantly heavier, and I see some pooling here. I just add additional epoxy that kind of settled in those areas. But everything looks to be nice and dry and very sturdy. I'll clean up these edges. These are easy to clean up, just sand and flush. Then just kind of do a little wet sand on it and clean everything up in the back. But I'm very happy with that, very happy. It's nice and strong and it's not flexing whatsoever, so that's good. So let's take a look at this over here. I taped this up. You can see that big crack is still there. So what I think I'm going to do is get this all cleaned up and then put a layer of just resin on it to try and just fill that in, and we can go and sand it out and make it nice and smooth. Looks like got some sticky tape. Alright, so now we have the side case, or the side cover, all prepped. Basically everything has been taken off, all the decals. I've roughed it up. I've put some thinner on it so that I wipe it down. Everything's nice and clean. I've got some gel coat here. It's just the resin without any of the fiberglass. We're just going to put that to have a nice smooth surface. So this is 1 ounce, so we're going to add 10 drops of hardener. We're going to give that a little mix, and then we're going to brush it on gently and let it kind of drip over the sides, and we'll clean it up with a clean it up later with some sandpaper. So alright, so now our gel coat has done dry and got a couple little shiny spots. It's just where it bled out a little bit, but we're going to sand this smooth with some 400 and get it ready for paint. So let's go to it. Okay, so we have gone in and primed these with a filler, and we're letting these sun bake for about an hour, get them nice and ready to sand out. And looking okay. This one still has a couple little places that gonna need a little bit of love, but overall looks pretty good to me. And this is just the sanding primer coat, and as soon as we get this done, then we'll put on a top coat. So hang on. Alright, so we have done a semi-gloss coat underneath the fenders, and it looks really nice. Say hi, Bella. Say hi. And now we're going to get ready to put on the top coat and get everything going. And I've got the old tank cooking a little bit. I'm going to get some rust inhibitor in that and get it cleaned up. But for now, we're going to stick with the good old fenders. So let's get some paint on them. We got the mud or the hand guards, couple fenders, side cover, and the headlight bucket, and they look pretty good. Still see some of the little scratches and some of the little dings and such, but for now it'll be just fine. This was painted with a Krylon silver metallic, and did fairly well. Still have to do a little bit of buffing out and then a top coat, but overall I'm very pleased. It'll work just fine for me. Still a little bit of a issue right here. We'll try and figure out what we can do with that. Maybe try and buff that out, sand it down, maybe shoot another coat on top. But as it dried, it seemed to be cracking a little bit right there. That's where one of the original cracks was from the underside. So we'll get that taken care of. But other than that, plastics are done. I'm very, very happy. One more off of the list of things to do.